Hi, it's Andy here from In a Day. This is a short video that gives you some hints and advice and suggestions on how to go about choosing a domain name. But we want to get a domain that is search friendly, that will give you some advantages in the search engine results and make your domain and your website easier to find. Okay, the first thing we want to look at is the top level domains. In Australia, probably the two most common top level domains are the .com and the .com.au. There's a bunch of others, .biz, .org, and a bunch of other Australian specific domains. The first thing you need to focus on is where is your target market? Who are you trying to reach with your website? If your target market is primarily Australian, then you probably should focus on the .com.au. If your target market is international, then a .com is a good idea. It's actually, if you can get domains for both, that's even a better option, but it's not always possible. Some other factors that need to be taken into consideration are the cost. A .com domain would cost you generally less than a .com.au. You're looking from about $10 to $20 a year for a .com versus 20 to whatever you like to a .com.au. You also need to make sure availability. We'll be showing how to check availability for domains a bit later. Also be aware that in Australia, for a .com.au domain, there are certain rules that you need to adopt to register .com.au. You need to have an ABN or a company name or a registered business to actually register a .com.au domain. Okay, the one that is most important to us and what we'll be focusing on today is the second level domain. This is actually the domain that people use to recognize. The obvious choice for many business owners is their business name, and that might be appropriate. In fact, if you have an existing business, you definitely should have your own business name, but you should also maybe look at some keyword-rich domains as well, and you can park those domains. They can point to the same websites. There's some clever ways that they could be pointed to make use of your website and to give you advantages in the search results. Some other things you should keep in mind is keep it short and simple. You don't want a long, convoluted, complicated domain. People won't remember it. If they are type it in and it's complex, they'll get mistakes, they'll make typos, they'll forget how it goes. So keep it as short and memorable as you can. Also write down the domain. How does it look when you write it down? Sometimes when it's presented, you're looking at it, it's harder to understand. So looking at how it looks on screen or written down is a good idea. And remember that hyphens are okay. You don't want lots of hyphens. 1 or 2 hyphens is normally fine. And these days in getting domains, you might find that you have to use hyphens. Some of the other domains without hyphens may not work well for you. Hyphens also look better written down, but people don't always use hyphens when they hear the name of a domain. So there's pros and cons to both. Okay, are keywords really that important? And yes, in a word, they absolutely are important. We'll look now at some examples of Google search results just to get a feel for how important those keywords actually are. Here are at Google, and we'll try some quick searches to see the types of results we're getting. Brisbane termites, fairly common. If we look at some of the results here, a lot of the domains include termites in the domain. Termite specialist Brisbane, and Brisbane termites is the very first one. So clearly having those keywords in there is relevant in this case. If we look at some others, Sydney carpet cleaning. Again, in the search results, we've got carpet cleaning, Metro carpet cleaning, New South Wales carpet cleaning, Sydney wide cleaning. Again, and if you do your own queries, you will see that this is a pattern that repeats time and time again. as we've just seen in Google, and if you do your own searches, keywords that are used in the search queries regularly appear in the domains that are on the first page. And this is not just because the domains are keyword rich, it's largely because when people set up a domain with keywords and other websites linked to it, more often than not they'll use those keywords in the anchor text. So by having a keyword rich domain, when you're getting links, you're more likely to get those keywords mentioned in those links, and that can help your ranking. So that's important. Keywords are very important to use in your domains if you can. Okay, so we're going to look now at some different keyword analysis tools that will help you decide which keywords are going to be relevant and which keywords are going to be suitable for our domains. The first one we're wanting to look at is Google's keyword tool. I can never remember the URL for the Google keyword tool, but that's okay. If you just go to Google, type in keyword tool, the first result is generally the one we're after. Okay, this keyword tool is based on Google's search results. It actually looks at search volumes historically, and you can enter keywords that you think are relevant. It will find a bunch of related phrases and give you a feel for how often they're searched on a monthly basis. So first thing we do is type in some keywords. I'm going to choose a topic for TV antennas. I'm having reception problems here. A TV guy's coming around in a couple of days, and I did some research on this. So if we do a couple of phrases, I'm particularly interested in Brisbane. Might also be called aerials. Also television reception. We need to make sure that we are focusing on the market that we're interested in. This defaulted to United States. I'm actually interested in Australian keywords, so make sure that you select Australia. You get a captcha, and normally these aren't too scary. So I hope I've got that, and click search. Okay, I'll just minimize this a little so we can see it. Okay, so we've got a bunch of phrases. Here are the keywords that Google thinks are relevant. The competition column relates to AdWords competition, the number of people who are bidding on this keyword phrase in AdWords. The next column refers to global monthly searches. So that's how many times this particular phrase is searched worldwide. But the next column, the local monthly searches, is what we're most interested in. We're looking at high volume keyword phrases that are searched regularly, because these are probably going to be better for us to base our domain on. So if I click on that column, it'll sort in that order. And we can get a feel for some of the phrases here. Antenna is probably a little general, but I'm guessing that we'll probably include that phrase in it, so we'll probably capture that. Note that even though I mistyped aerials, Google is clever enough to spot phrases that it feels are relevant or it feels are appropriate. Note antenna TV, TV antenna, antenna 4 TV have all got the search volume, so Google is treating these as equivalents. Television antennas and television antenna have got different volumes. Often Google will merge those, but in this instance it sees them as separate keyword phrases. So looking through this list, and if you scroll down, there's a whole bunch of different phrases. Lots of different ones. Some of these will be more relevant to you, some will be completely irrelevant, but it's a matter of working out the keywords that are high volume that relate to your business. Now I've got, I think I'm looking at focusing on the TV antenna. It's nice and simple. Television is a bit harder for people to type in, even though it's a higher keyword phrase. I think for me this focus is probably going to be TV antenna. So the Google Keyword Tool is a very good way to see search volumes. You can find high volume phrases, but another Google tool that I really like that also helps with determining keyword analysis is a tool called Google Insights. And we'll take a look at that. To use the Google Insights tool, just go to Google and type in Insights, and it's the first one in the list. Okay, again, the Google Insights tool is based on actual Google search results. You can use it particularly useful when comparing a number of different phrases. You can see trends in the search queries, but you can also see relative search volumes. So for example, if I still wasn't sure about antenna or aerial, I could compare those phrases. Now, we don't want a worldwide search, we only want it in Australia. So I've got antenna and aerial and do the search. And we can see from the graph that the blue, which is antenna, is searched roughly 50% more than the red, which is aerial. So that confirms to me that antenna is probably a better phrase, although aerial's not as bad as I thought. You can do all sorts of cool things with Google Insights. I'd encourage you to go to Google Insights, have a play with some different phrases, and get a feel for the product. Keep in mind that these are relative volumes. It won't actually show you the actual search volumes, and similarly these types of figures are based on relative searches, so not necessarily the volume of searches, but the volume of total searches undertaken in certain regions. Okay, once you've looked at your analysis tools and got a better understanding of phrases that are going to be relevant, you need to actually check the availability. So just because a domain is great doesn't mean that it's going to be available for you to purchase. So most domain registration services will allow you to check availability of tools. One that I recommend is one that we've set up in the Innerday site. So if you go to domains.innerday.com.au, and I'll walk you through that process of checking the availability of domains. Just because you type a domain in a web browser and it doesn't come with a website doesn't mean that that domain is available. It could be registered but just hasn't yet been used or set up to access a website. Okay, here we are at domains.innerday.com.au. That's domains.in-a-day.com.au. We can try some of the combinations that we saw in our previous analysis. So one was TV antenna. If I do a search, you can see that tvantenna.com.au is registered, but there's org and various others that are available. I'm not interested, so I'll try TV antennas. Again, registered. Try it with the hyphen. Okay, tvantennas.com.au is actually available, so that's probably one worth looking at. I might try Brisbane. Brisbane TV antennas. Okay, Brisbane tvantennas.com.au is available. I think that's one worth doing, worth pursuing, and in fact I'd be inclined to maybe book the tvantennas.com.au as well. You can have multiple domains, point them to the same site. Okay, so some quick things to remember from this presentation. Choose a top level domain that is related to your target market. If you're going international, use a .com. If you're focusing on a specific market like Australia, .com.au will do you better. Keep the domain nice and simple. Easy to understand, easy to read, easy to type. Keywords are critical. They're very important to the domain, but also to improve your rankings. And at this stage, focus on high volume keywords, keywords that people search a lot of. High conversion keywords are also important, but that's an extended topic. And also consider including location information in your domain. People search locality very often. Including that into your domain will help you get found for those location type searches. Thanks very much for your time. This has been Andy from In a Day.